Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MCFC Lads Podcast. I'm Luke, and as always, I'm joined by Alex. How are we, mate?
I'm good, ready for the football to be back. International break. It's been a decent international break, but club football is much better, so good to have it back this weekend.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, we'll get onto that shortly, but we'll talk a little bit about the international break. Erling Haaland, Alex, water's wet. He's bagged 4 in 2 games. Norway have qualified for the World Cup for the first time since 1998. That's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad.
Yeah, we have a little Haaland segment in every single episode these days because he's just scoring for fun. And I mean, the Norway team's good, but I don't think it would be unfair to say Haaland has probably dragged that team to the World Cup. And I think they've probably got a decent shout at making it to around 16 or quarterfinals, given sort of if they can beat Italy 4-1, they could beat a number of teams in the competition. So fair play to them, fair play to Haaland, well deserved to finally go into World Cup. Maybe not so good from a City perspective, given that means that he won't have the summer off. But happy for him.
Yeah, well, back to Great Britain or whatever, and it's been pretty successful. England qualified without conceding a goal. I think it's 8 games in a row they've won, or we've won, without conceding a goal. Thomas Tuchel's done a good job. Phil Foden played, a part in that for England. Nico Riley played at left back, looked really good from what I've seen. And yeah, there's been a lot of negativity around Foden, saying that people are hyping him up too much. He basically passed the ball to Eze. Eze pinged it in the top corner, and it was a decent pass or whatever. But ultimately, the commentator was hyping up Foden because he'd come off the bench, made a few chances, played pretty well, and all these Arsenal fans are losing their heads about him, mate. It's a bit weird, to be honest.
Yeah, but standard behaviour for an Arsenal fan. So one of them, I just sort of ignore it. It's sort of Twitter for you. But Arsenal fans are obviously getting it a little bit better. But Phil Foden, great player. Glad he got himself an assist for England as well.
Yeah, well, outside England, Scotland had a mad night the other night, obviously winning 4-2. I think Wales are in the playoff as well, but Scotland have qualified automatically, and then Republic of Ireland have gone mad, and I think Northern Ireland are in the playoff as well. So it'd be mad if we got all 5 nations in, but yeah, it's looking decent. Returning back to City, obviously, we've actually, as far as I'm concerned, avoided any injuries for once in the international break. You were talking obviously off camera about a few players that haven't been getting too many minutes, might be looking for a move away there in January, Alex.
Yeah, Nathan Ake, James Trafford, both slightly linked with moves to Wales. It's a bit early to sort of get your January talk, but we have had a little bit of it over the international break. And in terms of both of them, both very possibly could leave. Both have had very minimal minutes, as you say, so far this season. Yeah. James Trafford obviously came in and has been sort of taken out of the team straight away by Donnarumma. No fault of his own. He's been good whenever he's played, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and seeks first team football because that's what he deserves, a keeper of his quality. And Nathan Ake, again, he's a great player. He'll have his eyes on a World Cup place. And I have heard Ronald Koeman say that he's not going to get that definitely if he's not on the first team, which he's not going to be at City. So if he wanted to move, I'd say fair play to him. What a servant he's been for the last 5 or 6 years. He's been a great player, but ultimately we've got so many defenders these days that he has fallen down the pecking order a little bit. So if he goes, fair enough. I've seen like Palace linked and those kind of teams. So yeah, interesting to see what happens there, but we'll wait and see over the next month and a half, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's been a bad few weeks for Arsenal and Liverpool actually towards the top of the Premier League table, Alex. Liverpool, obviously, horrific against us, got done 3-0. And they all lost their heads about that Van Dijk goal. I'm still seeing people crying about it, and it's been 2 weeks nearly. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to let that one go, even though they got smacked 3-0. Arsenal obviously bottled that game against Sunderland late on. I don't think they deserve to win. Just before, obviously, the break, they drew 2-2 at the Stadium of Light. And that was the first points dropped, obviously, in a long time. But then, obviously, heading into the international break, now Gabriel is injured for them, which is an interesting one. They've got the North London derby that we'll talk about later on. Do you think City, maybe the tides have turned a little bit for City? Is a look on our side? I mean, I don't want to speak too soon, but we seem to have, like I said, got through the international break fairly clean.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a nice change not having a John Stones or anyone get injured on international duty. Fingers crossed everyone will be fit by the time we get round to the Newcastle game on Saturday, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Gabriel out for Arsenal is a big loss for them. He's probably their best player so far this season. I don't think Arsenal fans would really argue with that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it will impact them. Obviously, he's gone for 6 weeks. I think defensively, structurally, they're quite well set up. So I don't know how much a centre-back getting injured will affect them. They've also got Mosquera to come in now rather than Kivior, who they would have had in previous years gone by. But losing an important player like that is going to make an impact. And fingers crossed they drop a few points as a result of it.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. Well, we talk about Haaland every week, and some people must get, a bit bored of it. To be honest, we certainly do. But then, how can you really be bored by having the best scorer? Obviously, maybe even of all time. To be honest, in your team, Haaland has 32 goals for the season, and it's mid-November. Who was the most talked about striker in the summer, Alex? Who would you say? Who got the big move? Who was everyone talking about in the summer?
You go with Victor Gyökeres probably to answer that question.
Victor Gyökeres, Alexander Isak, I was sort of hinting at. Yeah. Gyökeres had a lot of chat as well. And Haaland, by mid-November, has already beaten Alexander Isak's goal total for the entirety of last season, mate. That is just ridiculous
bonkers.
To say.
Absolutely mental.
It is just ridiculous. I don't know how you can score 32 goals in 10 games. I've seen the goal ratio he's got for Norway. I think shatters anyone else's for a national team since 1925 in the last 100 years. So, yeah, Haaland is just absolutely on smoke. A few other things we've got. This happened in the last week. I'm just looking at my Twitter. Do you remember when Aymeric Laporte, there was that confusion over his name?
Yeah.
That's now 7 years ago,
Mental.
Mate. Time flies. I also had a bit of a mad video on Twitter. I just played against a robot keeper, basically, and smacked it in the top corner.
People weren't happy with your technique.
If you've not seen that video, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. We could do with a penalty taker like me, maybe, mate.
We could.
But not sure. Yeah. Other than that, mate, have you been up to much? Anything you think's worth mentioning?
No, not particularly. Just watching the football, waiting for City to come back. On the penalty topic, actually, I'd just like to add, Mamouche actually missed a penalty in the week for Egypt, so that's class.
Yeah.
We've got another player that's missing penalties. And I also don't think we quite brushed over the fact that Phil Foden apparently is linked with a new contract at City. Which is very good news. I think it's sort of inevitable. Phil Foden will stay at Man City probably for his whole career, so it didn't really mean that much, but it's also always good to see that the club are on top of these things.
Yeah, well, we've got a few community questions, Alex, that we'll get onto before. Obviously, we talk about the Newcastle game and the other games this weekend. Somebody's asked whether we think, this is Daps actually. Daps has said, a straight turkey dinner at Christmas, or are you willing to get some gammon, lamb and beef involved into the mixer? Now, at first when I read this, I was convinced there was some sort of like corresponding players he was on about, and then I just realised it was nothing to do with that. Should the Elf on the Shelf come out before December? What is he on about, Alex?
He's on an interesting sort of mindset there. Not too sure what he's on about. To answer the question, turkey for dinner, please, on Christmas Day.
I'd rather have chicken, mate. I would rather have chicken. It's nicer. That's what I'll say.
I'm 50-50, but turkey on Christmas Day for me.
Yeah, we also have got someone here asking whether we think Haaland will get 80 goals or more this season. In all comps, he's on 32. So, he's got a chance. He's got a chance.
I personally would say he won't, because the thing is, he's surely got to go through some sort of drought. Even if that drought's a 5-game drought, I just think he can't keep scoring at this rate.
Yeah.
To put it in Mick McCarthy's words, I hope he can, but
it can. Yeah.
But I just don't think that's possible. So, I'd love to see it, but if he can even match his 22-23 tally, then I'll be more than happy.
Jeremy Doku, good performance for Belgium as well, Alex. I think he's really putting up the numbers now. That performance against Liverpool, we talked about it last week, obviously, but I really hope he can continue that form, because we pointed out in the Club World Cup, I think he was one of our best players there. Foden was good at that as well, and I know it was like a pre-season, whatever you want to call it, end of last season, but it did pinpoint a few players and areas to look at, and I think Jeremy Doku, I know Haaland's been absolutely banging him in, but he's going under the radar a bit. Even before that Liverpool game, we both thought it was good. And now he's obviously kind of arrived and getting a bit of attention. I think he deserves it, mate. He's been so good.
Yeah, I agree. He's been unplayable. And like you say, with the Club World Cup, I think we both said Foden and Doku would have good seasons this year based off of that, because they showed what they can be. I think I saw a stat, Doku's got 17 goal contributions in all competitions, including his Belgium stuff as well so far this season. So, that's just leaps and bounds from where he was sort of 12 months ago even. And it's really good to see. And it's what we need. We keep saying we need players to turn up and contribute to goal scoring as well as Haaland, and we're really starting to do that from Doku now, and I'm excited to see him play again on Saturday against Newcastle, see how we can do it in a difficult environment. And over the next few months, I'm sure will be very important to our success.
Yeah, well, just a little side note before we move on to the Newcastle game, Alex. I was asked on Twitter, so obviously we beat Liverpool 3-0. Their fans are raging. We've battered them. They couldn't take it. And it's got about 1 million views, that video on Twitter, of me just waffling about the game. A guy here on Twitter's put, how many Maltesers could you get in this guy's gob? I did 22 one Christmas, and he's scraping the 40s surely. I then quote tweeted and said, you can pay me to do this at Maltesers, at Mars Bar. And I can confirm that neither of those companies have been in touch. But a different company have been in touch. And I am, in fact, doing this exact challenge. And I'm going to make sure I quote tweet that guy and let him know what an amazing opportunity he's given me. So look out for that. There's a little Easter egg, if you'll pardon the pun, in the pod. Alex, what are your thoughts on that, mate?
I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'll be popping by to see how you're getting on my lunch break. If this goes out tonight like I think it will, then it'll be tomorrow that you end up doing it. But excited to see how many you can fit in your gob, as he says.
Well, I think the best thing about all this is that he's going to end up being rattled again when the quote tweet lands. So make sure
Twitter's
you
not
keep your
going
eye
to be
peeled
happy
for that. Should be fun. And I think that's the best thing you do with all these weirdos that, don't have anything better to do than send nasty things out. Is just embrace it, guys. But yeah, speaking of nasty things, Alex, it's not been a good start for Newcastle. I'm looking at the table now, 14th, 11 games played, 12 points. In the Champions League, I think they've been pretty good, to be fair, even though they've not had the best of teams to come up against. But -3 goal difference, 12 points. A team that would be looking to be in Europe. They are 6 points already off 5th place. They're even further, 10 off us. They're 10 points beneath us in the Premier League table. What's gone wrong for them, and how do you think the game's going to go? And obviously, we'll come on to do a predicted lineup and stuff like that.
Well, on paper, it should... You look at it and you say, we should be beating them. If it was just sort of an anonymous team, you'd say, well, they've had a crap start to the season. We've had quite a good start to the season. We're in good form. We should beat them. But St James's Park is one of them. Even when they were crap before the investment, you would always go there and you'd say, that's quite a tricky game. I remember the 18-19 season. It was our last loss of the season in February, and it's always just been one of those games that it's just not a nice place to go to, and it'll be no different on Saturday. What's gone wrong for them? My honest answer is I don't particularly know, because they've got a lot of talented players. They've signed a new striker to replace Isak, who's scoring goals, so I don't think they're missing Isak's goals. Maybe we could pinpoint it towards maybe the wings aren't performing. Anthony Gordon was a key player for them last season. He started the season quite poorly. I don't actually know if he's got a Premier League goal yet this season. They brought in Ante Alanga. He's not hit the ground running whatsoever.
Yeah,
Newcastle fans are sort of... The jury's still out on him, I'd say. And then sort of Jacob Murphy had a good season last year. He's not featured as much as maybe he would have liked. Harvey Barnes, the same. So I'd say maybe I'd put it down to their wingers not quite having the same output as in recent years. But on the whole, I'm not too sure why they've not performed at the same level, because the team is a very, very decent team on paper.
Yeah, well, I think back to kind of the first time in recent years anyway that Newcastle did qualify for the Champions League. They had that big game against PSG where they smacked him 4-1. And I remember saying at that exact point, I don't think they're going to get out of this group. I think they're putting a great performance there. St. James, it shows how difficult of a place St. James's Park can be to go to. They went to, some of the other grounds. I think they lost against Dortmund, and they got knocked out of that group in 4th place. At the time, they didn't even drop into the Europa League. So they suffered, despite putting in some good performances in that group a couple of years ago. They're doing a lot better in the new format this year. And, they've got a few wins under the belt, but they've really suffered in the league. And they suffered a bit in the league that season as well. I think for Eddie Howe, he's not quite, obviously, with the PSR and the stuff like that, he's not quite been able to spend what he wants to spend. They've not really kicked on this season. I know they did very well to obviously get in the Champions League and win the League Cup last season, but it feels like they are just stuck in the mud a little bit. It's been a very, very poor start for their standards anyway. In the league, they're averaging just a point a game, just above Leeds, Burnley, West Ham, who've all had pretty poor starts. I think Leeds and Burnley maybe done a bit better than some people would have said, but yeah, they're really stuck in the mud. And like you said, we've got to be going there and try and get a win. We saw Arsenal go there about a month ago. They go behind. We know the Newcastle crowd can be up for these big games, Alex, but I think we've got to go there and win, mate.
Yeah, I agree. I think in the last pod we actually went through the next sort of 6 or 7 games. I did say that I think this is probably our trickiest one of them. I believe that's what I said.
Yeah.
But like you say, I think we've got to go there with the mentality of we need to try and win. If we don't win, then I'm not going to cry if we come out there with a point. I think I'd be very disappointed with a defeat. But we have been there and played teams that are in form against Newcastle, and we've gone there and won. I sort of, the main one in my mind will always be the Oscar Bob one in injury time, which game. I believe was actually the season you was on about in the Champions League where they came 4th. And, we were down and out in that game, and we had a player like Kevin De Bruyne to come on the pitch off the bench and save the day. And, maybe this is a chance for one of the newer players to step up and make their mark. Someone like Tijani Reinders, who maybe hasn't quite had their moment. Let's see one of them take this chance and make it their game.
I know football isn't played on paper, Alex, but like we said, it's 2nd v 14th. I know it's after an international break, but I just hope their sort of bad patch can carry on for just a little bit longer. We want to be getting a win under our belt and putting some pressure on Arsenal before that North London derby. So, moving on to our predicted lineup, Alex. I'm going to start by telling you, obviously, reminding everyone of that lineup against Liverpool. Huge 3-0 win, battered them. Now, we started with Donnarumma in goal. It was Nunez at right back, with Diaz, Gvardiol and O'Reilly at left back. Bernardo Silva, Nico and Foden, and then Cherki, Haaland and Doku. That team was unbelievable. Unbelievable side, Alex. Surely against Newcastle, it's Donnarumma in goal as well.
Yeah, that's a guarantee.
The back four, O'Reilly, great performance for England on his, first international cap or whatever. Gvardiol and Diaz and Nunez, is that back four going to change, or do you think it stays the same?
I'd be surprised if it changes. I think don't fix what's not broken. O'Reilly, the physicality is going to be extremely useful against Newcastle. They're a big side, like Dan Burn. Aït-Nouri is someone who I do want to be integrated into the squad at some point in the near future. I think maybe Leverkusen would be a good opportunity to start to ease him back into the side. But O'Reilly's been excellent recently. He had a good international camp away with England. So for me, getting rid of him would be silly. Nunez has been excellent as well. So, Kusnov is available. Marika Lewis is available. But it's hard to displace someone that's playing so well like Nunez. And Gvardiol and Diaz have been a rock at the back together. So, again, the likes of Stones, Ake, Kusnov are all available. But as I said, don't fix what's not broken.
Well, we're going to have so many games, like you said. That Leverkusen game we'll touch on shortly as well. That'll be next week on Tuesday. And there's so many games coming up. If we do beat Brentford as well in the Carabao Cup quarter, we're going to end up having 2 semi-final games. It's a double-legged fixture as well. So we're going to have so many games coming up. We will see a lot more rotation now. We've got no international breaks until March. I do agree with you. I think the back four stays the same. I think the goalkeeper stays the same. The midfield three, though, I think we're probably both in the same boat in that it changes slightly. It'll be Nico, one of your favourite players, Alex.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. Then I was thinking maybe Reinders instead of Bernardo Silva and Foden. I think Bernardo, our captain, unbelievable against Liverpool in my opinion. I do think, though, maybe in a game like this, a physical game where you want a lot of running, a lot of legs, Newcastle run hard, and I think Reinders might suit this game a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that's a completely valid point. I think as well, Reinders thrives in space, and Newcastle will provide us with some space in the break, I have no doubt. And that'll be useful. With Bernardo and Reinders, you can actually flip a coin. Pep will choose one of them for Newcastle, and almost certain will choose the other one for Leverkusen. It could be either or. I'm happy to go Reinders on this occasion, but both excellent players, and fingers crossed this can be Reinders' big game.
Yeah, and Phil Foden we've already talked about. He's been on great form this season. That Dortmund game really showed where he's at. I think he's definitely got it in the locker to get a goal or whatever in this game. Front three, does it stay the same? Doku and Haaland are just straight on the team sheet for me. The right wing position, what do you think? Is Savinho in contention? Is it just Cherki? What do you make of that?
Yeah, Cherki wasn't excellent against Liverpool, but for me, he's got to start. I think that front three is our best front three at the moment. The team is scoring for fun at the moment. It's scoring a lot of goals, and Cherki's a great creator. And there will be times when Newcastle sit very, very deep, and someone like Cherki is essential. And again, with that, I would like to see Savinho play against Leverkusen. Again, we'll speak about Leverkusen in a second, but I think he's one of them that maybe not for St James's Park, but yeah, absolutely an option for Leverkusen on Tuesday.
Well, Newcastle, like we've already said, 14th in the league, 12 points from 11. Are they going to be happy with a point? Do they need any result, or do you think they're going to come at us, try and win the game? We saw them against Arsenal, like we said, a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago now. Arsenal get the last-minute winner. They really look decent in that game as well, Newcastle. They just can't get the results. In the Champions League, they've been so promising, but in the league, they've just fallen short. So, on paper, it's 2nd v 14th in the league. We should definitely be getting a win, but we know St James's Park's a hard place to go, Alex. We've got memories from there. We think about one of your favourite moments watching City, definitely, is that Oscar Bob winner, KDB
100%.
off the bench in January of 2024. That really, springboarded us to go and win that 4th title in a row. I really do believe that. KDB was unbelievable off the bench as well. Oscar Bob, that song was echoing through the streets all night. Think back to 2019, that KDB goal. Unfortunately, we didn't win that game. And the 3-3 in the treble season. Alex, so many moments, but there's also been a couple of bad ones as well at Newcastle. It can be a very tough place to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they will absolutely go and try and beat us. I think on their day, they will back themselves to beat anybody at St James's Park, and rightly so, because I think, they've beaten PSG 4-1 at St James's Park. They've taken Barcelona, a very good Barcelona team this season, to the very end. They're a very good team on their day, and so, like you said, they will go for the win. We have had some good moments. We've had some bad moments. I think of the 2019 game when we lost, and a lot of people thought the league was maybe done. Then we went and won 14 games on the bounce and went back-to-back for the first time in our history. It's a difficult place to go. It always will be. It doesn't matter if they're crap or if they're good. We've always struggled there. Most teams do struggle there. But I do think we will win on Saturday, but I absolutely expect them to go for us, and they will back themselves, and that's absolutely fair enough given the record they've got there over the years.
One thing it is going to be, Alex, is absolutely freezing. It's going to be absolutely freezing. You're not going to be in your shorts. I know that, mate. You're definitely going to be in a coat, warm, wrapped up. Could even snow. It's not quite snowed in Manchester yet, but I saw some pinky-looking clouds before, which is worrying. I think it snowed in different parts of the country, so it could easily snow in Newcastle, but we need to just make sure when we're coming back down those steps at full time, we've got 3 points, Alex. We've definitely done a little practice run as well, because those steps at Villarreal ran Newcastle all the way. Very, very long way up. We know that. I know a lot of City fans like going to St James's Park, though, and hopefully we can win the game. But we will move on, Alex. That's our predicted lineup, obviously. To the Leverkusen game, we'll just touch on it. We're not going to do a podcast before then. We're on 10 points from 4 games. Good goal difference. Only Bayern, Arsenal, and Inter have pipped us. And obviously we should have won that game in Monaco. Everyone knows that. It was a questionable penalty at the end. Newcastle have actually got 3 wins and a loss in the Champions League. So they've done very well in the competition, which is weird because they're only a couple of points short of their league total, which is mad. But we've got to be winning this game. We need sort of 5, 6, probably 6 points more in the Champions League in 4 games to get ourselves in the top 8. This should be our bread and butter. This should just be our bread and butter, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we came out of Monaco very disappointed with that draw. Yeah. It still does annoy me because it was a needless drop of points. But we did say, win your home games and you'll be all right. And so far we have done. Leverkusen's another great chance to win a home game. I think it'll be a similar game to Dortmund. I think they're probably similar. I think they're 1 point separated in the Bundesliga at the moment. So I think that's probably a good benchmark as to where we should place ourselves against a team like this. They're not the Leverkusen team of old. They're not Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen. They've not got Florian Wirtz, Jerry Frimpong. Obviously, neither of them have succeeded at Liverpool so far, but they were both very good players at Leverkusen. They've lost Granit Xhaka as well to Sunderland. And at the moment, they're just not quite clicking in the way that I think many thought they would. They've got Echeverry. He is eligible to play against us. So that could be interesting if he comes off the bench on Tuesday. I doubt he'll start, given he's barely played any minutes so far. But I expect us to beat them. I think, like I said, I think we'll beat them. I think we'll beat them in a similar way to we Dortmund. Yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult of a game, I don't think. Famous last words.
Yeah, we just got to win. Simple as that. We just got to win. We know we'll rotate a little bit. I could see like Rico Lewis coming in. I could see, people shifted around, played in slightly different positions. But we're going to have so many games, like we've said, coming up to the next international break in March. We're going to have a crazy amount of fixtures. So it is about, rotating your players, not overplaying them. It's cold now. That's when you get injuries. We've seen the teams like Arsenal picking up injuries. We don't want to join them. It's inevitable we're going to get some players injured, but win the game, and we need sort of 3 points from 3 games. I remember we came out of that Monaco game, Alex, and you said, if we beat Villarreal, if we beat Dortmund, we're not done badly, and we're on 10 points after 4. So we want to be in that top 8. We're looking in good shape to do it. But before we finish this pod, Alex, we'll just touch on some of the games that are coming up this weekend in the Premier League. There's a couple decent ones. Look at the Saturday. The only one that really jumps out is that Liverpool-Forest game. Now, last season, I think you said this off camera, that was a game that was, playing for first place at one point, and both teams have just fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams in dire form. Forest in the bottom of the table. Liverpool sort of mid-table, but far off where everyone expected them. In fact, I believe Forest were the first team to beat Arne Slot at Anfield, weren't they, at the start of last season? And I imagine Sean Dyche's Forest side will go to Anfield, they'll sit back and they'll make life very difficult for Liverpool. Liverpool need to win. They need to get back onto winning ways, especially after a humbling defeat to City in their previous game. Their form is atrocious at the moment. They're heading towards 24-25 City levels, and that's a great thing to see. It's going to be a tricky game for Liverpool, and I hope Forest can get something out of it. I'm not sure they will, but it would be great to see if it does happen.
Yeah, wouldn't mind it one bit, and it's great to see that fall off, to be honest. Obviously, City Newcastle, Alex, 5:30. How do you see this one going? I think we just edge them 2-0. I don't think it'll be easy by any means, but I think we just overpower them and just get a result. I think that's how it goes, to be honest. Haaland will get one, and Reinders gets the other.
Yeah, I think it'll be a difficult game. It always is down there. But I do think we'll come away with a very, very tight win. I think it'll be a 2-1 job. I agree Haaland's going to score, and I'm going to go Jeremy Doku score because the guy's on absolute fire at the moment. Okay. So, City to win 2-1. No idea. Probably Nick Voltemade for them. But yeah, it's going to be a tricky game. But as long as we come away with 3 points, I think we'll all be very, very happy come Saturday evening.
Arsenal Tottenham on the Sunday, 4:30, Alex. Could be a stumbling block. Could be. They've got injuries. They've come back from the international break. Similar positioning to our game against United where we actually steamrolled them 3-0. Weirdly, straight after the international break. Obviously, Sky Sports or whoever want a big game to slam on the TV straight away. But that'll be a hot one. I don't think it's quite as fierce a rivalry as people make out. I think at times this game can be boring, but I think it has, the chance to be a good one. Tottenham have been so much better away from home, so much better. Nearly all the points have come away from home this season. So will it suit them going away? Maybe. How do you think it goes, Alex? I sadly think Arsenal might just edge it. I think they might just do them in, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. Arsenal and Tottenham, sometimes it can throw a bit of a curveball. I remember in the 22-23 season, Ange's first season, we all expected Arsenal to go win that. They had a great start to the season, and Ange went there and they drew 2-2, This Tottenham team is so inconsistent. We've seen them play quite well against us, get 3 points, but then they've also drawn to bottom of the table Wolves, who I don't believe have won a game yet this season. You just don't know what to expect, and ultimately I just don't think they're good enough to beat this Arsenal team. There's obviously no Gabriel this Sunday, but I would expect Arsenal to win that one, but I would love Thomas Frank's inconsistent Tottenham side to happen to turn up at the Emirates on Sunday and just get a point, if anything.
Yeah, well, they always seem to turn up against us, Alex. It's mental, isn't it? But let's
do.
hope they can turn up in a big game for them and get a result. It's United-Everton on the Monday night. United have been in good form, annoyingly, but let's hope Moyes can rock up at Old Trafford and win a game. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, Moyes' record at Old Trafford is horrendous. Even when he managed them, he was crap. But also as an away manager, he just never seems to win there. I think his first time Everton beat United under... When Moyes was there, was when Moyes was United manager. That might not have made any sense, but he has a crap record there, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't see everything getting different from this one. United seem to have slightly picked up form. They're still not great, but they're capable of beating the crap teams now, is essentially what it seems to be the pattern. So I expect them to beat Everton this weekend, or on Monday night, sorry. Yeah, I expect that.
Well, anything else to touch on, Alex? Raise it, mate. But I've had got a couple of shoots coming up, some good stuff. Sport Bible, doing some stuff with the overlap as well. And actually, a guy that was trying to slate me on Twitter asked how many Maltesers I could fit in my gob. Some salty Liverpool fan tweeted out. He basically said, "I had a massive mouth. How many Maltesers can you fit in your gob?" On Twitter, I uttered Maltesers in Mars bar. I said, pay me to do this, and a company has reached out wanting me to do this challenge. So keep your eyes peeled on Luke Stanley 03 on Twitter, because there's going to be some funny stuff. You've got to embrace it. Alex might pop down and see it live, but just look out. There'll be a few pictures. There'll be a few videos. And yeah, that guy has inadvertently set me up with a nice little opportunity, and it's all a bit of fun. So yeah, loads of funny stuff coming up, loads of content. We're going to keep the pods grinding out. Some other content coming soon. We've got so many games coming up, an absolutely mental amount of games coming up before that March international break. So buckle up, and hopefully we can get 3 points on Saturday. Alex, anything else to add, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. 123 days, I believe, now until the next international break, which is fantastic news. A lot of football. The next international break comes around, we'll be, fingers crossed, in a Champions League quarter-final. We'll be in a title race. Hopefully still going in the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup will be done by then. But yeah, it's a big few months ahead, and the Christmas period is always where City define themselves. So exciting times.
Absolutely, mate. Up the Blues.
Up the Blues.